Here's a question for you. On a scale of 1 to 10, how bullish are you on Tesla? If you answered anything less than 11, get ready to crank up the excitement because big things are coming and they're coming fast. Hey guys, welcome to Connecting the Dots, where we follow the breadcrumbs and try to predict where disruptions will take us. Following Tesla's We Robot event and earnings call, analysts and investors are finally realizing that Tesla is far more than a car company. And while there's plenty of discussion about the how, what, and when of robotaxis, a few crucial details have gone unnoticed. In this video, I'll connect some dots that nobody else has connected and assess their implications for Tesla. We'll dive into robotaxis, Cybercab, Model 2, and Optimus. We'll explore timelines, engineering, and production lines. And though nothing here is investment advice, I will show why Tesla stock remains extremely undervalued despite the recent price jump, and why we're at the cusp of its largest appreciation ever. If you find value in my videos, please smash that like button. It really helps if this happens early in the video. This video grew out of my latest patrons only video, so a huge shout out to my latest patrons: David F., Mikal B., James R., Russell S., Titan 4 Padrat, Dan G., and Philip K. Your support makes these videos possible. And to all my patrons, you guys rock. To help create this content and get exclusive patron videos, please join me on Patreon for as little as $1 a month. Now buckle up and get ready, because we are about to witness one of the largest disruptions in history. And disruptions are never boring. Chapter 1. The pace of progress.
We are driving in a self-driving car. There is no steering wheel.
There's no steering wheel in this car. We're just cruising.
We are driving a driverless car. I'm in the driver's side and there's no steering wheel. Look at this.
A week or two before the We Robot event, visionary entrepreneur and author Randy Kirk asked me for his YouTube channel to list the questions I would most like the event to answer. The first question I shared focused on the pace at which Tesla's self-driving technology is progressing. Progress follows an S-curve. It starts slowly, then accelerates rapidly until reaching an inflection point, after which it slows down again. Earlier versions of Tesla's full self-driving, FSD, relied heavily on manual coding to handle edge cases, the rare, unpredictable situations encountered on the road. While progress seemed promising at first, as usage grew, the sheer number of unhandled edge cases grew faster than Tesla's engineers could keep up with. Coding became a bottleneck, which slowed progress to a crawl, even though FSD still lagged the average human driver. FSD version 12 shattered the coding bottleneck by replacing over 300,000 lines of manual code with an end-to-end neural net approach. As before, the system trains on millions of video clips, both real and simulated. But unlike previous versions, here the training continues, running additional simulations until it can handle every edge case without relying on hard-coded shortcuts. This takes significantly more compute. But without being limited by human coding, the system now scales with compute power, allowing rapid and continuous improvement. Here's what Altimeter Capital's Brad Gerstner had to say.
So you and I did the pod earlier in the year, Bill, on FSD 12.3 as a big breakthrough, as the first imitation learning model, really moving away from these deterministic models where we saw a step function in terms of capability. Elon had said they were going from making 10% improvements a year to 10x improvements in a much shorter period of time. So we know about FSD 13. It's the first model they've trained on the Austin supercluster, right? Parameter size is about 5 times bigger.
Ditching heuristics and moving to end-to-end learning enabled Tesla to move from 10% improvement a year to extreme levels of growth. Tesla is growing its compute at an unheard-of pace. It has recently launched its 50,000 GPU Cortex supercluster at Giga Texas, with plans for even more ambitious infrastructure in the future. As a result, FSD is improving fast, and as seen in YouTube and X videos, interventions are becoming rare. While it's not flawless, FSD often behaves like a highly experienced driver. More importantly, there's no sign of progress slowing down, and compute growth together with incoming data ensure that the system continues evolving and should soon reach superhuman driving performance. But how soon is soon? This is where exponential growth becomes key. If you chart progress on a logarithmic scale, exponential improvements appear as a straight line. This makes predictions much easier, as until an inflection point is reached, simply extending the line forward allows for surprisingly accurate predictions. As I told Randy Kirk, I really wanted to know the slope of this line. And while Tesla didn't address this in the event, shortly after they spilled the beans, and what they showed is exciting. Chapter 2, Autonomous Driving Timeline. Let's listen to what Elon said.
So with respect to autonomy, as people are experiencing in the cars really from week to week, there are significant improvements in the miles between interventions. So with the new version 12.5, the release of Full Self-Driving in Cybertruck, the combining the code into a single stack so that the city driving and the end-to-end highway driving are one stack, which is a big improvement for the highway driving. So it's just all neural nets, and the release of actually Smart Summon, and we're also so that's 12.5. Version 13 of FSD is going out soon. Ashok will elaborate more on that later in the call. And we expect to see roughly a 5 or 6-fold improvement in miles between interventions compared to 12.5. And actually, looking at the year as a whole, the improvement in miles between interventions, we think will be at least 3 orders of magnitude. So that's a very dramatic improvement in the course of a year, and we expect that trend to continue next year. So the current internal expectation, emphasizing internal expectation for Tesla FSD having longer miles between interventions than human is the second quarter of next year, which means it may end up being the third quarter, but it's next. It seems extremely likely to be next year. Sure, do you want to say anything about that?
Yeah, when measuring miles between critical interventions, yeah, like you mentioned, Elon, we already made a 100x improvement with 12.5 from starting of this year, and then with V13 release, we expect to be 1000x from the beginning, from January of this year on my production release software. And this came in because of technology improvements, going to end-to-end, having higher frame rate, partly also helped by hardware force, more capabilities, so on. And we hope that we continue to scale the neural network, the data, the training compute, etc. By Q2 next year, we should cross over the average human miles per critical intervention, or like collision in that case.
I mean, that is just unvarnished our internal estimate.
Yes. Yeah.
So that's no sandbagging or anything else. Our internal estimate is Q2 of next year to be within human, and then to continue with rapid improvements thereafter.
So first, Tesla shared the slope of the miles per critical intervention graph for 2024, an incredible 1000x improvement in just 1 year, or 1 order of magnitude every 4 months. Second, Tesla confirmed that they do not expect to hit an inflection point anytime soon. They are not compute constrained, and they expect continued exponential growth next year, targeting another 1,000 times improvement in 2025. And third, they forecast reaching human-level driving performance by Q2 2025, a mere 4 to 7 months away, followed by rapid progress into superhuman territory. This demonstrates the incredible power of exponential growth. When FSD beta version 12.3 launched in January 2024, it was significantly better than version 11, but still far from enabling hands-free driving. As this chart from Altimeter Capital's Frida Dewan shows, Tesla has deployed new versions regularly, with each one announced as 3 to 10x better than its predecessor. And while 3x may sound low, all it takes is a few 3 to 5x improvements, and a 1000x is easily reached. If you've tried older versions of FSD and weren't impressed, it's time to give the latest one a shot. The difference is night and day. For instance, Gail Alfar from Austin, Texas, shared her experience with the latest version. Been testing Tesla FSD version 12.5.6.3 on highway and city streets, and this is the best build I have experienced. Safe to say it performs better than the average human. Elon responded to Gail by revealing that version 13 will improve by another 5 to 10x in miles between interventions. Gail added that Austin is a great testing ground due to its numerous construction zones, to which Simon Van Dyck added that the same goes for Houston, where there is constant construction all around, and FSD has gotten remarkably good at handling situations, better than first-time humans driving the same area. Seeing is believing. Strength Plan's video in the background showcasing FSD navigating New York City is extremely exciting. The car drives with previously unheard of levels of smoothness and confidence without a single mishap. And the same is true for all the other videos I'll show in the background. But while videos like these are impressive, it's important to remember they are anecdotal. The real validation comes from data collected over millions of miles. Thankfully, we don't have to rely solely on videos, because the numbers are even more compelling. RBC Capital's Tom Narayan reports that FSD version 13 is achieving around 10,000 miles per intervention. Meanwhile, Altimeter Capital's Brad Gerstner estimates the figure to be closer to 25,000 miles per intervention. Let's put this in perspective. According to Statista, in 2022, there were 1.86 car crashes per million miles traveled, roughly 538,000 miles between accidents. Even taking the more optimistic 25,000-mile figure, FSD version 13 will be 22 times more dangerous than the average human driver. However, after version 13 rolls out, we'll have 7 months of continued improvements until the end of Q2 2025. With the current improvement rate of 3 orders of magnitude per year, 7 months should provide a 56 times improvement. This puts the number of miles per intervention at the end of Q2 at 560,000 miles based on Tom's numbers, or 1.4 million based on Brad's. Both estimates clearly validate Elon's prediction of achieving human-level performance by mid-2025. While these milestones are promising for a limited availability service like Waymo, currently tracking at 20,000 miles, for Tesla they are just the beginning. If progress continues the current trajectory, by late 2025, FSD performance should be 33x to 82x better than human drivers. Say goodbye to FSD supervised and welcome to real full self-driving. And this finally opens the door to mass production of autonomous vehicles. To wrap this section up, first, Elon wasn't just pulling numbers out of his ass. With 5x here and 3x there, most of which we've already seen, a 1,000x improvement in 2024 is very credible. And second, he wasn't lying about dates either, because if progress in 2025 continues 24's line, human level of driving should be surpassed in Q2, with superhuman levels quickly following suit. I love peeking into the future, seeking opportunities and avoiding pitfalls. In fact, a series of presentations I gave about the future back in 2016 is what led me to invest in Tesla before its meteoric rise. But while I love analyzing the big picture, some things I prefer to leave on autopilot to protect me in the background. For example, when driving, the odds of an accident on any given day are low. But drive day after day, year after year, and accidents become inevitable. Since consequences can be serious, to minimize risk, I drive a safe car and always buckle up. This simple precaution gives me peace of mind to focus on the journey. And these days, we spend more time online than on the road. So similarly, while browsing the internet might seem safe day to day, over time, the risks stack up. Hackers can steal your identity. Authorities might dig through years of browsing history. And your ISP can sell your private browsing data to insurance companies. These things happen daily, and the consequences can be severe. So to minimize risk, I use NordVPN, which are sponsoring this video, but I've been happily using them for years. A friend recommended them, and after trying, I never looked back. NordVPN protects your data and identity across all your devices, keeping your online activity private. Beyond safety, I use it to watch my favorite shows when I'm abroad and access services from other countries when I'm home. It even helped me sign up for X Premium before it was offered locally. It's fast and doesn't slow my browsing, and their third-party verified no-logs operation ensures that nobody can get my data, even if they want to. Think about it. Would you drive every day without wearing a seatbelt? If that sounds reckless, exactly. Don't take similar risks with your browsing and find out the hard way. To get started, use my link in the description, nordvpn.com/dots, for 4 extra months on the 2-year plan, plus a 30-day money-back guarantee. It's risk-free, so go to nordvpn.com/dots and give them a try. I think you'll find the added peace of mind as valuable as I do. Chapter 3. Things gotta converge. Let's leave numbers aside for a moment and focus on something completely different, the convergence of timelines. You've probably heard of just-in-time manufacturing, where components are produced or delivered just hours before they are required for assembly. Getting parts just in time is more efficient than getting them early, as it minimizes storage costs and the cost of money for the time between receiving the parts and when they are used. And if getting parts early is costly, it's nothing compared to getting them late. If even a single part is missing, the entire operation slows down forcing partially assembled products to sit idle, waiting for the parts to arrive. There's a lot of magic in coming together at the right time, not early and not late. And this applies not just to cars, but also to the factories that build them. Take Tesla's latest supercomputer project. When NVIDIA was ready to supply GPUs, before Tesla's facility was completed, Tesla didn't waste time or resources by taking delivery early. Instead, they rerouted the GPUs to xAI, which was ready to use them immediately, and going into berserk mode, got their Colossus supercomputer up and running in a record-shattering 19 days. Meanwhile, Tesla fast-tracked the construction of its data center, and once it was ready, not a single day was wasted before they took delivery of the GPUs, set up the cluster, and started putting it to use. But why am I mentioning this in reference to autonomous driving? Because the same principle applies to Tesla's production lines. Building these lines involves massive capital expenditure, so timing is everything. A production line for Tesla's fully autonomous Cybercab needs to align with the readiness of autonomous driving technology. Why? Because a Cybercab designed without manual controls, like a steering wheel or pedals, would be useless without full autonomy. Sure, Tesla could add manual controls temporarily, but they won't, and in a later chapter I'll explain why. For now, let's assume I'm right and there won't be a manually controlled version. If so, there is no way Tesla would commit to the production line without being confident that the technology will be ready just in time for production to begin. They just wouldn't risk the production line sitting idle for a long period of time, waiting for the technology and approvals to arrive. Of course, a safe way of mitigating this risk would be to start building the production line after the technology is ready and approved by regulators. Other companies might do this, but not Tesla, because playing safe introduces an even greater risk. Cybercabs are a crucial building block in Tesla's robotaxi fleet, and unnecessary delays in building them would incur the costs of using more expensive Model 3s and Ys instead. More importantly, waiting with Cybercab's production until the risk is gone would slow robotaxi proliferation and eat into Tesla's critical first-mover advantage. For Tesla, self-driving and Cybercabs must converge. If you know one's timeline, you also know the others. So what do we know about Cybercab production? Elon said in the earnings call,
And then Cybercab reaching volume production in 26. I do feel confident of Cybercab reaching volume production in 26. Not just starting production, but reaching volume production in 26. And that should be substantial growth. We're aiming for at least 2 million units a year of Cybercab. That'll be in more than one factory, but I think it's at least 2 million units a year, maybe 4 million ultimately. So, yeah, these are just my best guesses.
Tesla expects volume production of the Cybercab to begin in late 2025, ramping up to full-scale production in 2026. This timeline aligns perfectly with Tesla's projections for autonomous driving, and it's no coincidence. These two elements are designed to converge. But building a factory is not Elon time. It's Tesla time, which increases our conviction that this time, Elon's prediction of autonomous driving arriving next year will indeed come true. Chapter 4, the production ramp of a century. In a series of videos I made before Tesla announced their third-generation platform and unboxed manufacturing method, I predicted that Tesla was working on a new way of building cars that would revolutionize the car industry. My main argument was that Tesla wasn't just focused on reducing costs, but also on shortening production time to unheard-of levels. Most car factories operate with a cycle time of around 60 seconds per car, meaning they produce one car per minute. But by using innovations like gigacastings to eliminate hundreds of parts and processes, Tesla's Giga Shanghai achieved a record-breaking cycle time of 35 seconds per car for the Model Y. As impressive as that is, it's not enough for the Cybercab. Tesla's goal for the Cybercab production line is nothing less than a fully automated factory, an AI-intensive factory operated by humanoid robots and spitting out cars like an alien dreadnought mothership in science fiction movies spits out combat spacecraft when invading a planet. In previous videos, I predicted a few seconds of interval between cars, but was I right? Let's listen to Elon.
It's worth noting with respect to the Cybercab, it's especially not just a revolution in vehicle design, but a revolution in vehicle manufacturing that is also coming with the Cybercab. The cycle time, like the units per hour of the Cybercab line, is like, this is just really something special. I mean, this is probably half order of magnitude better than other car manufacturing lines, like not in the same league is what I'm saying. Not in the same league.
If, like Elon predicted, this line will be half an order of magnitude better than conventional manufacturing lines, this means that the Cybercab line could produce a car every 12 seconds. Think about that for a moment. A single production line doing the work of 5 traditional lines. And Tesla isn't just building a factory, they're building a machine to make the machine. A fully optimized and integrated system designed to operate at scales that no other automaker is even attempting. This focus on automation and scale is why Tesla is uniquely positioned to disrupt the auto industry yet again. While legacy automakers struggle to adapt to EVs, Tesla is already working on the next leap forward in manufacturing efficiency. Reaching this level of automation isn't just about speed, it's also about quality and adaptability. A fully automated factory reduces human error, ensures consistency, and allows Tesla to rapidly scale production without being limited by labor shortages or other bottlenecks. As we previously saw, moving from FSD version 11 to version 12.3 removed the dependency on manually written software. And with the human limiting factor removed, Tesla was free to accelerate at a much higher pace. Similarly, removing the limiting factor of humans from the production line will enable Tesla to quickly accelerate production to extreme speeds. 12 seconds are just the beginning, and future lines will undoubtedly run even faster. What makes the Cybercab factory even more extraordinary is the timeline. Elon has stated that Tesla expects to begin ramping production in 2025, with full-scale volume production in 2026. If Tesla delivers on this timeline, and they're already building out the necessary components, this could be the fastest and most efficient production ramp in automotive history. Other automakers are years away from achieving anything remotely similar. Tesla's ability to integrate manufacturing, design, and automation into a seamless process is what gives them this extraordinary lead. It's not just about building cars, it's about building the machines that build the machines that build the machine, at a speed and scale that no one else can match, not even the Chinese. Chapter 5, Trump and DOGE. Following the elections, analysts finally realized that with Trump winning the presidency and Elon Musk having his ear and running the DOGE, a federal framework for approving autonomous vehicles might finally become a reality. Currently, autonomous driving regulations vary wildly by state, with each state having its own fragmented and often inconsistent rules. A unified national standard could significantly accelerate the adoption of autonomous vehicles. The first to predict this was Wedbush Securities' Dan Ives, who suggested that the new administration would prioritize creating a federal framework for autonomous vehicles under the Department of Transportation. This was later echoed by Bloomberg, which reported that members of Trump's transition team had indicated that autonomous vehicle regulations would be one of the Department of Transportation's priorities. Frankly, this was to be expected. It shouldn't have come as a revelation that if Trump were to win, Elon's influence and focus on deregulation would align with the needs of the AV industry. After all, Elon himself hinted at this during Tesla's latest earnings call.
But I think we will get approval next year in California and Texas, and towards the end of the year, it will branch out beyond California and Texas. I do think we should have a federal. I agree. Like autonomous vehicles should be approved. It should be possible to.
Congress, if you're listening, let's get a federal AV.
There should be a federal approval process for autonomous vehicles. I mean, that's how the FMVSS is
Started and worked.
Federal motor vehicle. The FMVSS is federal. It really needs to be like a national approval is important. If there's a Department of Government Efficiency, I'll try to help make that happen. There's a Department of Government Efficiency, I'll try to help make that happen. There's a Department of Government Efficiency, I'll try to help make that happen.
If a federal framework arrives, it will be a massive step forward for autonomous vehicles. It's something we've been waiting for, and the timing couldn't be better. But having the right regulations is one part. The other is having the data required for passing them. Tesla's FSD progress will allow it to collect vast amounts of driving data, which is critical for regulatory approval. Let's hear what Elon has in mind.
The Cybercab looks different. Cybertruck looks different, but Model Y and Model 3 they're good-looking cars, but they look fairly normal. You don't expect a fairly normal-looking car to have the intelligence, enough AI to be able to drive itself, but it does. So we do want to expose that to more people, and so we're doing every time we have a significant improvement in the software, we'll roll out another sort of 30-day trial. So to encourage people to try it again. And we are seeing a significant improvement in adoption. So the take rate for FSD has improved substantially, especially after the 1010 event. So there's no need to wait for robotaxi or cybercab to experience full autonomy. We expect to achieve that next year with our existing vehicle lineup.
If Tesla gives a free 30-day trial of fully autonomous driving once Tesla deems the system ready, this would generate tens of millions of miles of real-world driving data per day. On average, each car in the US drives about 40 miles per day. And with over 3 million Teslas on American roads, if only 2/3 of the cars take the trial, this would easily generate over 2.5 billion miles throughout the trial. To put this into perspective, the US accident rate is one crash every 537,000 miles, and fatal crashes occur roughly every 1.6 million miles. Under manual driving, 2.5 billion miles would statistically result in over 4,600 crashes and 1,550 fatalities. If Tesla demonstrates that FSD is even 10 times safer than human driving, it could present compelling evidence for regulatory approval. In fact, even a single week of testing could collect extremely decisive data, proving that FSD saves thousands of lives per month, and that's just on Teslas, before being licensed to other vehicles. Once this is displayed, Tesla could easily meet even the strictest regulatory requirements, paving the way for mass deployment. The potential implications are staggering. A national regulatory framework would not only allow Tesla to scale its robotaxi fleet more quickly, but would also enable Tesla to roll out cybercabs across the country. Instead of fighting state-by-state battles, Tesla could focus on scaling its operations, improving FSD, and solidifying its lead in the autonomous driving race. Trump and Musk's alignment could be the catalyst that finally brings autonomous driving into the mainstream, and Tesla is uniquely positioned to capitalize on this moment. Chapter 6. Add steering wheel and pedals. I've seen discussions where people speculated that Cybercab will be sold as Model 2, and while I think it will only be sold to private owners as a Cybercab for use on the robotaxi network, I cannot dismiss the option of Tesla selling a Model 2 for mostly private use. This is a marketing issue outside my expertise. Closer to my expertise, however, is the speculation that when sold as Model 2, or while waiting for regulatory approval, the car would be fitted with a steering wheel and pedals, so it could be driven manually. I think this suggestion completely misses the point. Adding a steering wheel and pedals isn't just a technical or cost issue. It's fundamentally at odds with Tesla's philosophy of extreme optimization and their long-term strategy. Let's start with the practicality. Fitting Cybercab with drive-by-wire systems, where inputs like steering, braking, and acceleration are transmitted electronically rather than through physical connections, would be easy. For example, with Cybertruck-like steer-by-wire, there's no need for a steering column piercing through the firewall. Just bolt the steering wheel somewhere, connect it to the wiring hub, and you're done. This isn't to say that doing so is trivial, as besides the cost of the extra parts, it consumes engineering time, requires changing safety systems, and adds complexity to the production line. Now consider the costs beyond manufacturing. Adding manual controls would require homologating the Cybercab for use as a manually operated vehicle with different safety gear. Homologation, adapting a vehicle to meet regulatory standards for a given market, is both time-consuming and expensive. Normally, this wouldn't be a problem, but it would be for Cybercab considering that the manual version would likely have a very limited run. By the time Cybercab production ramps up, Tesla expects its FSD system to be extremely safe, likely demonstrating crash and fatality rates far lower than human-driven vehicles. At that point, regulatory approval should become easier to obtain, making manual controls redundant and a poor investment. And mostly, there's the issue of design. The Cybercab is purpose-built for autonomy, with an interior designed to maximize passenger comfort and utility rather than accommodate a driver. Adding a steering wheel, pedals, and associated controls would compromise this vision. The vehicle would no longer be optimized for its primary purpose as a robotaxi, instead becoming a hybrid that's neither fully autonomous nor entirely functional as a manual car. Tesla is an extreme optimizing machine, and in this world, any compromises made in an attempt to build a jack of all trades only lead to mastering none. A good example for this kind of compromise is BMW's platform strategy. To save costs and offer flexibility, BMW designed its vehicle platforms to support multiple powertrains, internal combustion engines, plug-in hybrids, fully electric, and sometimes even hydrogen fuel cell. And while this approach enables platforms to cater to a broader market, it comes at a cost. BMW's EVs are heavier, less efficient, and more expensive to manufacture than those of competitors like Tesla, which designs platforms specifically for electric powertrains. By trying to be everything at once, BMW ended up with vehicles that are inferior to those optimized for a single purpose. Tesla avoids this mistake by focusing exclusively on tailoring their products to their intended category, in this case a fully autonomous cybercab. And as if to order, Elon Musk just posted on X about the F-35 that its design was broken at the requirements level because it was required to be too many things to too many people. This made it an expensive and complex jack of all trades, master of none. Success was never in the set of possible outcomes. So I guess it's QED. Of course, the strategy of foregoing manual controls carries risks. If autonomy takes longer than expected to arrive, or there are delays in gaining regulatory approval, Cybercab's rollout could be completely delayed. However, Tesla has always thrived on taking calculated risks. By sticking to its guns, it's positioning itself as the leader in a fully autonomous future, not just another player in the ride-hailing market. Adding a steering wheel and pedals might seem like the safer bet, but Tesla isn't playing it safe, it is playing to win. Therefore, I don't think that Cybercab will get manual controls. Let me know below what you think, but first, here's Elon.
So anyway, there's like basically I think having a regular 25K model is pointless.
Yeah,
It would be silly, like it would be completely at odds with what we believe. The autonomous, it's fully considered cost per mile is what matters. And if you try to make a car that is, essentially a hybrid manual automatic car, it's not going to be as good as a dedicated autonomous car. Yeah, Cybercab is just not going to have steering wheels and pedals. It's fully designed optimized for autonomy. But no, it'll cost on the order of cost roughly 25K. So it is a 25K car, and you won't be able to buy one on it exclusively if you want. So just won't have steering wheel and pedals. You don't need it.
7. Dim safety drivers. Let's talk safety drivers.
The big news is that we found out that Tesla is actually testing a ride-hail platform right now in California and that they have plans to launch it next year. Sounds like they're going to launch it with safety drivers. Not too much of a surprise. They stated that certain states have regulation over that. I guess California has a regulation where you need a safety driver at first, and then you need to pass some threshold of time or miles before you can pull that person out of the car. Unclear exactly what the laws are in Texas. My guess is they're more lenient. I know there are more hoops to jump through in California. But what does this mean? Well, we've been saying that for some time, even if Tesla were to take a while to solve for full autonomy, or let's say take a while to get regulatory approval for a fully autonomous taxi service, they could start a human-driven ride-hail service. And then they actually already have a better cost structure than the average Uber car in the vehicle, because we know that electric vehicles are, roughly a third of the price on maintenance and operating costs. So there's a lot of strategic, tactical reasons to do so. It seems like that's the way that things are going to go in the early days anyways. And then it's just a question of when are they going to take the driver out? So we've been saying 2025, 2026, roughly 60-40 probability there. Seems like that's still in play based on the announcement. So pretty exciting.
While I have huge respect for Tasha Keeney, Sam Corris, and Kathy Wood from ARK Invest, I've always disagreed with their view on this topic. And now armed with numbers, I disagree more than ever before. ARK Invest has always suggested that Tesla should start their ride-hailing service using human drivers. If I recall correctly, they didn't just mean safety drivers as used by Waymo, but also regular human drivers like those at Uber, to drive the cars until self-driving is ready. As Tasha said, even with a driver, Tesla would enjoy a better cost structure than the average Uber car, because EVs are roughly a third of the price on maintenance and operating costs. I could add a few other advantages that Tesla has, but entering this corner would be missing a crucial point, that of timelines. With autonomous driving bound to surpass humans in less than a year, it's pretty futile to recruit drivers and train them, only to dismiss them a few months later once FSD is fully ripe. At that stage, it's not just that drivers wouldn't be needed, but also every input would be error, and obeying driver commands would just make robotaxis less safe. 8. Optimus Bonanza.
What do you think? What do you think?
I think I've just been blown away. Somebody was saying, the future is coming and the future's here right now.
Yeah.
Until now, I discussed robo-taxis, but a much larger jackpot is hiding in plain sight, or rather serving drinks and showing off dance moves in Tesla's We Robot event. In one of my previous videos, I explained why I expect Cybercab's production line to be almost fully automated from day one. In this scenario, Optimus robots would replace humans in nearly all production stations, with humans overseeing the robots. Over time, even those oversight jobs may disappear, but what interests me now isn't the distant future. It's what will happen next year and the year after. Figure AI recently showed a video of its robots performing end-to-end automobile assembly tasks in a simulated BMW factory. The video demonstrated 3 robots performing the repetitive job of feeding automobile parts into a jig to be then welded by an industrial robot. While this task is relatively simple, considered low-hanging fruit, and was performed in Figure's offices for training, not in BMW's actual production line, it illustrates a clear path for robots to start doing actual productive work in BMW's factories and beyond. A big round of applause to Brett Adcock and Figure AI. But going back to Optimus, based on Tesla's demos, such as the battery-carrying task now shown in the background and the end-to-end tasks that Optimus performed in the We Robot event, such as handing out drinks, it seems that Optimus is about on par with Figure with respect to performance and much more advanced on manufacturability. Moreover, based on the current demos, I am confident that by the time that Cybercab's production line is ready, Optimus will be capable of performing nearly all production line jobs, not just the simple ones. If you think otherwise, let me know below. But remember how exponentials grow. They're like a hockey stick, and things are about to grow crazy fast. Optimus manning the production line, we really need to find a new term for this, has 3 profound implications for Tesla. First, working in 3 shifts, with downtime for charging and occasional maintenance, each robot could work over 7,000 hours a year, saving the equivalent salaries of 2.5 workers. This represents enormous cost savings and could send Cybercab's margins soaring sky high. Second, humans are currently the main bottleneck slowing down car production. Robots would enable tasks to be performed more efficiently, including those currently avoided to reduce repetitive motion injuries or to allow workers to rest between cars. And as production ramps up, Optimus will learn to perform tasks faster and better than humans. This could allow Tesla's production line to achieve speeds equivalent to 5 traditional lines. And finally, if my assumption of an almost fully automated line in 2025 is correct, this truly is exciting news for Optimus. It means that Optimus production lines will begin ramping up around mid-2025, producing enough third-generation robots to populate almost all stations in Cybercab's production line. It demonstrates that factory jobs, both easy and complex, will be mastered by Optimus. It promises significant data collection and training opportunities for the robots, accelerating their capabilities. And it provides an incredible showcase for attracting external customers to buy Optimus shortly after. These truly are exciting times. Robotaxi earnings are poised to dwarf Tesla's EV business, but Optimus is poised to overshadow them both. Optimus isn't just a product, it is nothing less than a milestone in the history of mankind. It is a crucial building block for a world of abundance. And for Tesla investors, it is the road to CHOAM. 9. The opportunity of a lifetime. Tesla's We Robot event featured dancing robots and gave analysts first-hand experience with self-driving cars. And together with the earnings call, it finally got most analysts to acknowledge that Tesla is far more than just a car company. However, despite the futuristic display and Elon's bullish timelines, many analysts remain skeptical about when autonomous driving will truly arrive. For example, Gary Black recently suggested that fully autonomous cars might arrive in 2027 or 2028, 2 years later than Tesla's announcement. I'm not mentioning this to bash Gary. I have great respect for him and fully recommend following him on X for a perspective outside the fan base echo chamber. In fact, I even understand why he's more cautious and not taking Elon's timelines as gospel. As a fund manager, he needs to do so, not to mention that Elon has been predicting autonomous cars arriving next year for the past 5 years. And yet, despite his cautiousness, Gary is one of the more bullish voices. Aside from a handful of analysts like Wedbush Securities' Dan Ives, New Street Research's Pierre Ferragu, and RBC Capital's Tom Narayan, most of Wall Street remains far behind. At the time of making this video, TipRanks shows that only 11 out of 34 analysts covering Tesla are recommending it as a buy, with their average price target of $233, well below the current $340 price. The highest price target of $400 is Dan Ives, and clearly, most analysts are either sleeping on the opportunity or discounting it as being years away. I don't blame them for being skeptical of Elon's timelines, but they should have done the work. This time, things are different, so let's connect the dots for them. 1. A 1,000-fold improvement in miles per critical intervention wasn't pulled out of thin air. It aligns with the 5x and 3x improvements we've already seen between FSD versions. 2. This rate of improvement validates Elon's projection of surpassing human-level driving by mid-2025 and makes achieving superhuman levels by the end of 2025 nearly inevitable. 3. This isn't just Elon time anymore. The entire company is aligned and gearing up to produce fully autonomous cars next year. 4. Cybercab's production line will output 5 times more cars than a regular production line. If Dan Ives' $400 price target assumes a single line, imagine where it would go with 5. 5. A federal mandate for self-driving is likely to be ready when Tesla expands beyond pilot cities in Texas and California. 6. 1 month of free FSD trials should generate 2.5 billion miles of autonomous driving data. At the current pace of progress, that will provide more than enough evidence for regulatory approval. 7. Unless regulations specifically mandate them for an interim period, no safety drivers will be required. And 8. A fully automated production line operated by Optimus robots will drive costs down, increase output and quality, and mark the launchpad for a rapid ramp-up of humanoid robot production. Some investors are beginning to wake up to this opportunity. Back in May 2024, my Dominating Robo-Taxes video, link in the description, started with a discussion between Uber investors Brad Gerstner and Bill Gurley.
Most people think that taking the driver out of the Uber will lead to an explosion in profit margins because it represents 75% of the cost of the ride. But we actually took a crack at these unit economics. If the margin goes up from, let's call it 7% of gross bookings to something like 12 or 14% of gross bookings, assuming that regulators pass it, assuming you could build the $25,000 or $30,000 car, assuming that you could enter into a commercial relationship with Uber and yield manage the peak, I don't think this is much of a threat to Uber.
At the time, I provided numerous reasons why Brad and Bill were wrong. And while I'm sure my video had nothing to do with it, fast forward 6 months, and their perspective has certainly shifted.
I have to admit, I was shocked when I saw this today because of how bullish you've been on Uber.
Yeah.
You sold it.
Leading up to the election, right, we had been taking down our position size and we've been rotating into Tesla. Why? Because I said before, we had a ChatGPT moment around full self-driving in 2024. I think the year of 2025 is going to be about robotaxi.
For an Uber bull like Brad to rotate his entire Uber holdings into Tesla is no small feat, yet he remains one of very few investors seeing the big picture. Fast forward a year from now, and the entire world will see. 10. The Nokia and iPhone moment. Think about it for a moment. Just half a year from now, automobiles, as we know them, could have their Nokia moment. Tesla is about to introduce the iPhone of cars, a fully self-driving vehicle. And just like the iPhone was made possible by the convergence of several technologies, next year will mark the convergence of transformative advancements in Tesla's world. Autonomous driving will finally reach superhuman levels. Tesla's unboxed production method will transition from testing and design to full-scale implementation on its first production line. And the third-generation Optimus humanoid robot will fill nearly all production stations. It might start slowly, but it will eventually surpass human efficiency. Another critical convergence is in regulations. Next year and into 2026, outdated rules will likely give way to more AV-friendly frameworks, welcoming the autonomous revolution. When FSD becomes a must-have feature, people will flock to Teslas just for this capability, delivering Tesla enormous profits at nearly 100% margin. Tesla may even license FSD to other automakers, further expanding its reach and revenue. Meanwhile, Cybercab's alien Dreadnought factory will begin producing vehicles at an increasingly rapid pace, eventually achieving the output of 5 or 6 conventional production lines. If you doubt this, I encourage you to check out my Robotaxi series and Optimus series. When Elon said Tesla will resume rapid growth next year, he wasn't exaggerating. And it doesn't stop there. As Tesla ramps up the Cybercab, it will simultaneously kick off an even greater ramp-up, that of Optimus robots. These production lines will soon be copied to other continents, spreading the revolution globally. All of this is almost certain. The state of Tesla's technology and the current pace of innovation make anything less than success unlikely. Yet, most analysts still fail to consider robo-taxis in their valuations, and none of them include Optimus. These analysts are missing the forest for the trees. Many don't even realize the size of Tesla's new Shanghai megafactory. But this won't last. Next month, next quarter, or as soon as Tesla unveils a fully automated production line manned by humanoid robots, a hockey stick moment is sure to arrive. While I can't predict the exact timing, I've already prepared for it. Let me know in the comments. How about you? If you found this video interesting, please hit that like button. It really helps the channel grow. Consider supporting me on Patreon for as little as $1 a month. You'll get ad-free access to all my videos plus exclusive monthly patron-only content. Click the link below. Your support makes these videos possible. Visit nordvpn.com/dots to keep your online presence secure and protect yourself from identity theft, scammers, and unwanted surveillance. Now with 4 extra months free. For daily insights, follow me on X at x.com/connectingodots. Until next time, I'm connecting the dots, and you are amazing.